Opening comments from Coach.
Obviously, a very, very tough place to come play and get a win. Maybe not very pretty basketball in the first in the first half. Big shout out to Dane Deja. He was terrific in the first half. He really kept us in the game and a night where again I thought we got some pretty good looks in the first half. I thought our defense was outstanding. Obviously, 18%. You don't do that against a Wisconsin team very often. I mean, you just say your prayers that when something like that happens. But again, a team that made a run. We made a little run to start. We got a lead, and I can't tell you how proud I am of our group. I think Derek said there were 15-2 maybe or something was their run after we had a lead, and then to withstand that and then make our own 19-2 run. That shows our guys are growing up. Jaden Epps was spectacular. That young man's not playing like a freshman. He just keeps leading us and finds a way to make a basket and crease the paint and spray it. In a night where Terrence, our best player, was very similar to Tyler, early foul trouble. They kind of canceled each other out. It wasn't a very good night for either one of those guys. But then Matthew Meyer showed who was the best player on the court tonight, and he was definitely that. So Matt can really get going, and we just kind of kept feeding the horse there in the second half. So great win. Excited to get out of Madison with a win, and on to the next.
Just a reminder, we've got mics on both sides, and go ahead, Jeff.
Brad, you obviously have a lot of options to go to for points if you need to be. Does Meyer just pick his spots by feeling what is needed and if he needs to be more assertive?
Yeah, and he lets you know when Matt's going. We've seen this in practice. He is scary. Some of the runs he's been on in games. In practices, and we're trying to do it in a variety of ways, not just with the three, but he's an exceptional ball handler at 6'9". He's got a way around the post. He's a crafty offensive rebounder. But yeah, tonight it was we found a couple things we liked and we just kept going to him.
Right in front here, Coach.
Brad, today is your fourth win when you haven't shot at 45% or better. Just what do you feel like that symbolizes for your group and where you're headed?
Nothing. Who cares? Wins, win, and I don't mean that to be. This league's really good with great coaches and great teams, and you go on the road and win, and you're not going to expect the ball to go in. We've tried to build our identity of our whole program based on the night they don't go in, how do we win in this league? And holding them to 18% was a start. Withstanding a home team's run and the 17,000 or whatever this place holds, and withstanding that energy, that's major league growth for us, and I'm excited about that.
Right here, Coach. And
Brad, along the way of lines of how you can get wins when you don't shoot well. Early on in the season, turnovers were a problem. I think since Northwestern, your turnover rate's in the low teens. What have you done, or what have you seen to limit the turnovers over the last
subtle
stretch?
changes. On the offensive side, just schematically, we've done some things. It was, most of our turnovers were coming off the dribble. You take Terrence's charges away and kind of the tough night that he had, and those turnovers are really low. So in tonight's game, but we've made some schematic changes to try to identify those, and then we've had consequences in practice for turnovers. So it had to become at the forefront of their minds that you can't win in this league, especially on the road, while turning the ball over.
in the back here, in the corner.
Brad, it looked like offensively you sometimes look to target Connor Siegen on the defensive end. What can you tell about that matchup, and how do you think you guys had success in that matchup?
Well, and we weren't real concerned about who was guarding Matt, but when he was on Matt, we liked that matchup. And, you know, obviously a senior against a freshman, he's a terrific player. You know, Matt's got 3 or 4 inches. You know, we ran the first play of the half trying to get a switch to go at Tyler, you know, to try to pick up another foul and get him out of the game. But, you know, it was not as scripted as you might think, but we liked that matchup.
Right here, Coach.
I mean, you talked about kind of that response after that run to make it 35-34 in the second half. I know you guys haven't necessarily been in a ton of those environments in true road games yet this year. What were they able to do in the huddle or kind of quickly on the court to flip that game after that?
Yeah, Coleman was electric in that huddle. Coleman was a soothing voice. You know, he and I are having a conversation. Everybody else is sitting there. He and I are having a conversation. I'm asking him what he likes. So what do you feel? What do you like? What action? You know, and I keep telling him. I ask him all the time. I said, we need movement. We need movement. What do you like? And Coleman in there is telling everybody, hey, this is where we got to go. We're going to see the shakes. Those are open. So Coleman was elite in those moments, and those are conversations as a coach I love to have with players. And now he's leading our team, and that's when we got a chance to become good.
Right here, Coach.
So, Coach, you were talking about Jaden and how he's not playing like a freshman. Can you talk to us about his recognition when he sees the bigs coming on him on defense?
Yeah, he's growing. He's continuing to grow and get better in that. You know, I thought he took a couple hard ones. Now, I also know Jaden can make some hard ones, so you kind of live with that in the first half. You know, and again, you know, I thought the second half he just drove in the paint, 2-foot jump stop, sprayed it. We got really good looks off of those, and you know, he's just continuing to grow his arsenal on the offensive side. He can really score, and when he puts that other piece of pace and poise and 2-foot jump stopping in the paint, and that becomes consistent, the young man's going to score a lot of points in an Illinois jersey.
Right here, Coach.
You talk about obviously the identity. You know, defense wins championships or games in this league. Even so, when you're in a situation like this where the ball just is not going in offensively, what are those conversations like on the sideline where you're making sure those guys stick with that mentality and know that eventually it can come around like it did tonight?
Yeah, and I think it's, you know, in the first half, it was maybe a little too hard for us to – we were – you know, my philosophy is always the closer you get it to the basket, the better chance it has to go in. And, you know, we were trying to get the ball to Dane. In 2 or 3 different actions. They did a great job defensively. We finally found a few opportunities to get him the ball, and he was very good. But, you know, I just keep telling him, I love your shot. I love your opportunities. I loved every one of RJ's shots. You know, that dunk he had shows his athleticism and his length. And, you know, the job RJ's doing defensively is elite. But, yeah, just hang in there.
Got time for 2 more. Right here and right here, please.
To grind out a win like that in a place like this, how much has your team's toughness progressed over the last few weeks to be able to get one like that?
A long way. A long way. I go back to, you know, we were in close games, you know, UCLA and Virginia and you know, even the Texas game. And, you know, there were some dogfights in there. And yet you've got to be able to execute. I'm not saying we weren't tough. We didn't execute very well in those even at that time. You go back to Penn State, and we just unraveled offensively. You know, so we've grown a lot. Like I said, practice helped, extensive practice over Christmas. But you know, we've still got room to grow, and we have to grow to get where we want to go.
Okay, final question right here.
You guys were able to hold Chucky scoreless in the first half, and then he had that 10-point outburst in the middle of the second half there. What challenges does he present for a defense, and kind of how were you able to kind of keep him in check there?
Well, he's a 48% three-point shooter, which is elite. I think he's one of the best shooters in the country. And then he's crafty. He's very good at snaking the ball in ball screens. He gives them an opportunity to post in the paint. We were very conscious of our matchups on Chucky all night. Terrence started on him. We wanted to try to keep as much size we're never going to hold a guy like that scoreless because he's gifted offensively. But everything started with trying to take away his threes, and he's going to find a way to put the ball in the basket. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.